In this video, we'll take a look at what alarms are and how they're used in the substation monitoring environment. Alarms are used to indicate the occurrence of an event that requires attention. For example, the opening of a breaker due to an overcurrent condition. So with that said, let's jump in, we'll take a look. The MCP for the G500, G100 monitors a given set of digital input points for alarm conditions. Upon detecting an alarm condition, the MCP creates a record in the database and presents the alarm on the MCP Active Alarms page. Once an alarm is acknowledged, it's archived by moving it from the Active Alarms page to the Historical Alarms page. The MCP alarm functionality, Digital Event Management DEM, applies to the MCP HMI as well as at database level in form of pseudo points that can be mapped to other applications. With DEM functionality, you can do the following. Configure alarms including double point alarms, alarm points, and alarm settings. View active alarms. View historical alarms. Acknowledge an alarm. And lastly, enable or mute an audible alarm. Users can map individual source alarms into alarm groups, resulting in alarm grouping and alarm reduction. You can think of an alarm group as a summary. If a given alarm group is in the normal state, then all alarms belonging to the group are normal. Alarm group indications are further grouped into a system alarm to indicate if any input point in the group is in an alarm condition. Alarm groups can be configured as non-visible at runtime. The intent for these is to allow creation of alarms to be used only at RTDB level for automation and reporting to SCADA. When the MCP HMI is used to display alarms, it is the end user's responsibility to ensure that operational alarms are always assigned to visible alarm groups. The following alarm types can be configured. Two-state deviation alarms, which generates an active alarm when the point state changes from normal to alarmable and archives the alarm only when the point state returns to normal and the alarm is acknowledged. Two-state on-update alarms. Generate an active alarm when the alarm state changes from one state to another and archives the alarm when the alarm is acknowledged. Four-state double point alarms. An on-update alarm is generated when the double point is in the transit state or in the invalid state and the state persists longer than the configured invalid period of time. The on-update alarm is archived when it is acknowledged. A deviation alarm is generated when the double point is in the open state and is put in the rest state when the double point returns to the closed state. The deviation alarm is archived when the alarm state is reset and is acknowledged. Alarms must be configured to activate the Active Alarms page in the MCP HMI. To configure alarm points, run the DSAS Offline Online Editor, click the Alarm tab, and then click the Alarm Points tab. Click the tab for the type of alarm to be configured, deviation alarms, on-update alarms, or double point alarms. In the Tree View pane, expand the folders and click to select digital input points to add to the alarm list. To modify the default settings for an alarm point, in the alarm list, double-click a setting and enter a new value. Click Save to save the settings. To configure global settings or alarm groups, click the Alarm tab, then the Settings tab. Select Global Settings or Alarm Groups. To modify the default settings, double-click a setting and enter a new value. Click Save to save your changes. Note that some changes on the Alarm Settings tab require a restart of your runtime HMI to take effect. To configure the maximum number of alarms, go to the System-wide tab under the System section. The slider options allow the user to configure the maximum number of SOE, PRF, historical and active alarms that can be present in the system. To view active alarms, run the Runtime HMI and then click on the Active Alarms button on the power bar. The page lists all active alarm events on every alarm-enabled point in the MCP database. The display automatically updates whenever the MCP generates a new alarm or when the status of the existing alarm changes. The total number of active alarms in the system database is shown in the bottom left corner of the window. Alarms are acknowledged on the Active Alarms page. You can manually acknowledge an individual alarm, selected alarms, or a group of alarms. On-update alarms are acknowledged automatically only if the ACT method is set to automatic. When you acknowledge an alarm or an alarm group, the Acknowledge indicator field is checked. The acknowledged alarm record changes in the foreground color, background color, and blink rate as configured in the alarm settings. The acknowledged alarm record is moved from the Active Alarms page to the Historical Alarms page. You can activate a sound to be played when a new alarm is received. The audio file can be set up when you configure the alarm settings, global settings. To enable or mute an audible alarm on the Active Alarms page, click the Enable Alarm Sound or Disable Alarm Sound to toggle the audible alarm on or off. Also, the alarm buzzer on the device will be activated based on the configuration values. The buzzer on and off timer can be configured when you configure the alarm settings and the global settings. This buzzer can be activated or deactivated when a new alarm is received. To enable or mute the buzzer on the Active Alarms page, click the Enable Buzzer or Disable Buzzer to toggle the buzzer on or off. When an alarm is archived from the Active Alarms list, it's now a historical event. To view historical events, click the Historical Events button on the power bar. A new window will open. All the available historical alarm records are shown. You can filter by line ID, device ID, and/or bay ID, and you can choose the number of records to show on each page. You can save the records in CSV format by clicking the Export Data button. This exports all available data, even across multiple pages. Records that are filtered out are not included. When resetting the database table, including the alarms records, it's recommended to use the DB Explorer tool on the Utilities page of the MCP HMI to save a backup of the SQL database tables before deleting them. To delete SOE and alarm records, run sudo mcp cfg or the settings GUI. Choose 9, Reset Database Tables, then choose 1, Delete Digital Event Data, SOE, and Alarm Records. Note that if redundancy is configured, it's required to perform the same operations on the peer gateway as well. Lastly, I want to thank you for watching this training content video. And if you're looking for more great content, take a minute and check out the Resources Hub on the GE website. You can do that by typing resources.gegridsolutions.com into your browser, or just click the link in the description of this video and it'll take you right there. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.